Condoleezza is like many of us today. Our jobs and busy lives require that we spend most of our waking time in our heads. This tendency transfers to the golf course, too, which means that most of us overthink our golf games, or at least think in the wrong places. To play good golf, you need to balance thinking and sensory awareness. If one is too strong, you need to rebalance them. We drew a big circle on the board with the words play box inside. Beside it, we drew a much smaller circle with the words think box. We said to her, "Condi, your play box needs to get much bigger and your think box needs to get much smaller." Very simply, the play box is golf's moment of truth. On one level, it's the three-dimensional space where you actually swing the club. On another level, it's your interior state that creates the conditions for a good swing. It takes 1.7 seconds to swing the club. From stepping into the shot to the finish of the swing, the play box should take from 4 to 9 seconds. That's not very long, which is why this window is so important. Peter Syka, a Canadian golfer and reader of our books, puts it this way. "I think of the swing like a Q-tip," he says. "There's so much attention focused on the ends, that is where the club starts and where the ball ends up, that everybody glosses over the middle. The problem is when you put too much focus on the endpoints, you usually have no idea how you got there." We couldn't agree more. This is why we wanted Condoleezza to focus on her play box. Here in the middle of the Q-tip, the play box is the space for pure sensory awareness. What do we mean by sensory awareness? We mean awareness related to the 5 senses: seeing, touching, hearing, tasting, and smelling. Remember, these senses live in the right side of the brain. No matter what kind of performance you're engaged in, you will generate optimal motor movements through your right, or sensory brain. For a left-brained person like Condoleezza, learning to access sensory feel in the play box is a new and critical skill. It's why we put so much emphasis on developing awareness of balance, tension, and tempo. Accessing these 3 physical states will move you away from cognitive thinking. Our friend Dr. Debbie Cruz of Arizona State University studies golfers' brainwaves by attaching electrodes to their scalps and recording the electrical activity of their brains while they play. She puts it this way. The think box is where you make your decisions about your shots. Once your intention is set, you move your focus to achieving your intention. As you get closer to actually swinging the club, you want to activate more feel and less thinking. The moment just before you move the club is most predictive of your result.